Thank you so much again for doing this.
Oh, for sure. This is great.
Okay.
Okay, so hi everybody. We'll get started. This is a presentation on home security, and if you saw the last presentation on personal safety, you got to meet me. So I'm going to introduce myself again. I'm Richard. I'm an officer with York Regional Police. I'm in the crime prevention unit. I've been with York Regional Police for just over 22 years. Quickly sneaking up on 23 years, and lots of different experiences in the organization. So today we're going to talk about home security and different options on how to make your house more secure and hopefully less likely to be a target of criminals trying to break in and cause damage. So I'm, as a crime prevention officer, I'm just one of 5 in the region, and each one of us is assigned to a district. So I'm assigned to the 1 district station in Newmarket. Crime triangle is just what we're trying to do is eliminate one of these sides of the triangle. And if we can do that, then we'll take away a crime from taking place, right? So if we get rid of the opportunity by making your house more secure, now a criminal can't commit an act. We get rid of a location or the ability for a criminal to carry out a crime. We'll get rid of the crime from taking place. So I showed this video, what does suspicious behavior look like? I'm going to show it again as a reminder. And as you look at this video, it's any residential street and anywhere, in the province. And in the middle, you see that shadow approaching. So this is when we start looking at suspicious behavior and what's out of the norm. So you look at the time in the morning, 5:43, and you see his body language. He's got a knapsack on. His body language, it doesn't fit what he's doing, the location, how he's walking doesn't quite fit the location. So when you're in the community and you're out for a walk with your dog or you're driving through your neighborhood and you see something at any time of the day that looks out of place for that time and location, don't hesitate to give York Regional Police a call and we'll send an officer out. So this is just my quick description. A certain behavior displayed by a person in a given situation and in a given time and place that does not fit that given situation and that given time and place. All right, so if you just see something that looks out of the ordinary, just pay attention to it. Look, if you get that sort of gut feeling, red flag, something's not right, pay attention, see what happens. And if you need to call us, call, and we'll come out and we'll help you out with it. So these are just a couple of numbers to call. So our non-emergency line, we have 895-1221. And then if you're witnessing something that's a crime in progress, you can call 911 for that. Sometimes when we're watching something that we think is suspicious, we kind of brush it away and say, no, it's probably nothing. But I just recommend that you don't brush it away or ignore it until you know otherwise. Sometimes it's easy to assume that your neighbor's calling the police or someone else is contacting us when it could be you doing that. So suspect description, all of these things here, race, sex, height, weight, age, facial features, color, birthmarks, tattoos, accent, clothing description, anything that stands out, the more information that you can provide to the police, the better, because that will help us when it comes time to investigating. Vehicle description as well. So if we're talking about break-ins into residential areas, oftentimes our criminals will be driving rental vehicles or stolen vehicles. So it's if you can get a license plate, that would be the best thing that you could do. So if it is a rental, we can trace the rental. If it's stolen, and then we'll, at least we'll know that something's really definitely wrong going on with that vehicle and the people that are inside. And if you can get anything that stands out about the vehicle, that would be fantastic. Anything out of the ordinary. So if you've never seen a break and enter, if you don't know what it looks like, I've been to, over the years of my career, I've been to hundreds and hundreds of break-ins, and they're kind of very similar but different at the same time. This one is a residential entry. I got this off the internet, off of YouTube, and the reason I show it, because the main thing I want you to notice when I show this video, the main thing that I want you to notice is how easily the door breaks. The door jamb just blows up. So our MO here is oftentimes our entries are daytime entries now, and our criminals, they will drive neighborhoods, look for a house where they think they've got good, clean access to a front door with limited visibility from neighbors. They'll go up, they'll ring the doorbell, and wait to see if anybody answers. So you see how easily that was? It was just like one donkey kick to the door, and the whole frame caved in. So now that there's two dogs as well, so that wasn't much of a deterrent. So they ran upstairs. So what's happening is he kicks the door in, so he's waiting to see if somebody's home. So he's listening, right? You can see him kind of go, oh, okay, maybe there is somebody there. I'm out of here. So that's kind of what I want you to notice. I mean, then he leaves for a few minutes and he comes back. So so when the break-ins that we're getting, like I mentioned, a lot of them are daytime entries. We do get some overnight, but that's not as common as the daytime ones. And the daytime start from anywhere from 9:30 till about 3:30, 4 o'clock, kind of when it's business hours, right? When people have gone off to work for the day and the house is empty, and they're targeting homes that are empty. So let's say, as we see this guy kick the door in and there is somebody home, the criminals that we're dealing with do not continue on in the break-in. They don't attack people inside the house. They leave because they don't want to get caught. It's not a crime against people. It's just a property crime offense. So that's important to remember. We get lots of incidents where the door gets kicked in. I'm just going to pause it when that guy steps in. So our bad guy will come up and ring the doorbell and wait to see if there's an answer. And if you are home and you don't answer your door because of a multitude of reasons, you're watching TV, you're in the shower, you're sleeping, for whatever reason, you just don't feel like answering the door. If our bad guy thinks that nobody's home, he kicks the door in and he goes inside. If you're upstairs in bed and you hear the smashing of the door, you run downstairs. There's a stranger standing in your front door in your front hall or anywhere inside the house. That person does not want to have a confrontation with you. Okay, so that's really important to remember. They want to get away because there's thousands of more homes that they could go to where there won't be anyone home, and they don't have to worry about either getting caught, because who knows who else is home, and it may be somebody who's able to actually grab hold of our criminal and keep them until the police show up. So they don't want that. If they go in and something happens and they physically attack somebody, now we're getting into a whole nother level of break-in. That's now called a home invasion. And that's another level of seriousness when it comes to criminality. This is just another example of a door being kicked in. So the guys ring the doorbell, wait to see. And they pop their head in the window, take a look, see if anybody's there. This is just a camera set up inside the front door. So notice how much time they're allowing for the homeowner to come to the door. So we're about 45 seconds, going on to a minute long, standing on the front porch. So they must feel safe and secure standing on that front porch.
Mm.
And then watch, they're gonna kick the door, watch where it breaks again, and just how easily it breaks. So as he came off on the hinge side, the whole frame is out. Putting his gloves on, and he puts the door back in place. So that's kind of what it looks like. It's real easy, and our goal here is to figure out how to make that more difficult, so the criminals can't get in like that. So again, I'll just go over the MO of these kind of break-ins. Often occurs during daytime hours. We do get evening break-ins, but they happen less than they do during the daytime. In the winter, when we have the daylight savings time and the hours change and it starts getting dark earlier in December, January, February, we do get some early evening or late afternoon entries around 5 o'clock in that kind of witching hour before people are home from work, and it's already dark and home lights are not turned on. So it looks like there's nobody home. And a few years ago, I was out doing a door-to-door canvas, raising awareness in one neighborhood in Aurora about some break-ins that were taking place. And I was out during that time around 4:30, 5 o'clock, and it was in a January time of year. I could tell just by walking down the street, looking at homes, who was going to be there and who wasn't. Because the homes that were in complete darkness, it was what I expected. There was no answer there. And then the homes where there was lights on inside the house, the people answered the door. So the burglars, they'll drive around the neighborhood, sometimes in teams of 2 or 3. A lot of the times these criminals are organized crime groups from various parts of the world. We get some from South America, from Eastern Europe, and they come here and this is what they do. They're professional thieves. So they drive around, they look for the right house. They will park the car around the corner. Oftentimes one person will stay with the car. The other 2 will get out and approach the residence, ring the doorbell, wait to see if anybody's home. If there's no answer, they'll kick the front door, or they'll go around to the back of the house and break the glass sliding doors, or if they're French doors, they'll kick in the French doors. And then once inside the house, it's very quick. It's to the master bedroom where everybody keeps their jewelry, and they may go through the nightstands, night table, or the closet, and then they'll leave. It's really in and out quick. It's a matter of minutes generally. We do get some break-ins where people are feeling a little more comfortable and they might spend some more time in the house, but generally it's in to the master bedroom where most people keep their jewelry and valuables, and then it's back out. And this is basically what they're looking for is, I think the number one thing would be jewelry and cash, because those are easy to carry, and especially with something like jewelry. If I have broken into your home and I've stolen a handful of jewelry items, necklaces, rings, watches, and now the police show up and now I'm running on foot, jewelry is really easy to get rid of. I can toss it and maybe nobody ever finds it. And if I get caught 5 blocks away, it just makes it tougher to prove that I was actually in that house. How do you know it was me? Because I don't have anything on me. Electronics, not so much anymore, but some electronics do get stolen. Narcotics are always good, especially opioid type narcotics and weapons. We do get firearms stolen from homes that haven't been secured properly, or they'll take the safe and just rip it out of the floor or the wall. So if we're looking at what do we do with our valuables, the ones that you wear every single day, if you keep them on, you keep them on. If you take them off at night and you put them back on during the daytime, that's fine. We're not worried about that. What we're worried about is the jewelry that has sentimental value, an heirloom that's been passed down the family, or something of monetary value that is really, really expensive and you don't want to lose it. So the ideal place is, number one, is a safety deposit box at the bank. The next one would be a safe, ideally in the basement, that is secured to the concrete floor. So that way it makes it really tough to get at. They also have items such as a wall safe, and a wall safe is really neat because it fits in between the studs of a wall. So if you cut out a piece of drywall, you just slide the safe into the slot, and then you bolt it in, and then you lock it, and then you hang a picture or a mirror over it, or something like that. So you can't see it. So the criminals go in, they go to the master bedroom, but all your good stuff is hiding in the wall. If you do put in a safe in the basement, just maybe find a way to conceal it so it's not easy to find. So if our criminals are now having to take extra time, they don't like that. So when we look at home security, it's a layering of systems. It's not just an alarm. It's not just a dog on the inside the house barking or anything. It's a combination of different things. We want to make barriers, and with each barrier, it becomes more and more difficult to get inside the home. And again, we can make our house like this, like Fort Knox. And if somebody wants to get in, they're going to figure out a way to get in, whether they go under and tunnel under and come back up. But when we look at target hardening and home security, this is a great picture because this is what we're trying to do in essence. We got cameras, we've got fencing, multiple layers, multiple barriers. We got lighting in it, and if you see those lights up here, they're going to be super bright, so you can see them. We got bars on the window, so that's what we're trying to do with our home. So the red dot is the bullseye, and these lines here would represent just barriers that a criminal will have to go through. So it could be a fence, it could be an alarm, it could be cameras, it could be good clear landscaping so your neighbors can see your front door. So target hardening, what exactly are we talking about with that? It's essentially it's having good sight lines to and from your house. I'm going to show you some pictures shortly about what that looks like. So our landscaping, we want to make sure that any trees that are at the front of the residence are limbed up, minimum 7 feet. So we're cutting the lower level branches up, and then any bushes, we want to trim them down to 3 feet. So what we're trying to do is open up a sight line. So your upper tree or bush down here, and we've got a sight line to your front door and also from your home to the outside. That's what we're trying to do, because criminals like concealment. And if our homes have excessive landscaping and some of our trees and bushes are overgrown, that's what criminals are looking for, because it gives them some concealment. They can kind of tuck away behind there, and it gives them freedom to stand at your front door ringing the doorbell, or to sneak around the back without anybody seeing them. The fencing, this is just one of those issues where it's privacy versus security. So I'll show you some pictures of fencing as well, and the flat board fencing, which is very common. It's good for your privacy, but it's also good for criminals, because now if somebody's in your yard, it's harder to see them. Whereas they've got fencing that is tough to climb, and I'll show you some pictures, tough to climb, and you can see through. So that way you can see out, you can see in from the roadway. Signs, I'll show you a bunch of signs as well. We want to have alarms, lighting, hostile vegetation. That's really angry vegetation. I put that in because it's basically thorny plants, thorny bushes, and you'd put them in strategic areas of your property. A low level lying window on the dark side of the house where that's not visible from the road, or on a fence line. So if somebody's going to try to hop your fence, they're going to land in some thorny bushes. And it's just a possible deterrent. So it's another layer. So I've got fence, I've got good sight lines, I've got thorny vegetation on the other side of the fence, so our bad guy hops over, lands in the bushes. Now maybe he's cut himself. He might leave a trail of some blood, some DNA, and it helps our case. And then we want to reinforce our doors and windows, install some cameras and safes for our valuables. So this is an example of a home that was broken into. And you'll notice, so this is the front of the house, driveway's off to the right. That's the front door behind that privacy screening. You see those windows there. You see how the trees are blocking those windows, the lower windows as well. And on this side, there's windows too, and down below. So as a criminal, this is the perfect house because my neighbors across the street, my neighbor walking their dog, my neighbor driving by, they're not going to see me standing at this front door. It's going to be really tough for them to notice me. So as a criminal, that's exactly what I'm looking for, because now I've got that privacy. I can kick the door. I'm not going to have any witnesses seeing that and calling the police. So here's the before, and that's the after. So you see that difference there? That's huge. That's it. That's the same house. It doesn't even look like it. So I think, in my opinion, this lower picture, not only have they increased the value of their home because of the curbside appearance, but those big bright windows there, getting lots of natural light. So if you're in that living room watching TV, and now you can look out the window to see across the street to your neighbors or anything that's going on in the community. Same thing with all these windows. And if I'm a criminal and I approach this door, I'm more likely to be seen, and I'm more likely to be seen walking up to that front door. And that's what we're trying to do. So that's really one of the first biggest main steps of preventing home break-ins, is having a good clear sight lines to your front. So this is just more examples of the landscaping. So we often see the cedar hedge for privacy, but again, that's a kind of double edge where it's privacy for the homeowner, but it's also privacy for the criminal who's approaching the house and trying to get up to that door. Just an example of, you see this a lot with newer subdivisions where there's no landscaping placed yet, and a good wide open front door that's visible from all directions. And then you've got this where you've got these beautiful trees, but again, now they're blocking the sight line to the front door. So when we talk about limbing up trees, all of these, so if I was doing an assessment at your house, I would make the recommendation that all of these lower limbs be trimmed up on both sides. So then what happens is that little section through here, you still have the tree, you still got the beauty of that tree, but you've opened up the sight line to the front door and also from the front door out to the neighborhood. Again, just another example of trees, and this house had a break-in as well, where there's lots of foliage that's covering the sight lines to and from the house. Just another before and after. So you see all the foliage here is blocking all those windows. And then you go over here and wide open. And if I was doing an assessment at this house, I'd further recommend that the ivy along the fence line be removed as well. So then you have a better sight line all ways around. But look at the difference. It's so much better. And now that is more advantageous for a homeowner. Just again, another before and after. This is the same house. So look at the overgrown landscaping, and you see homes like that. I go out and part of my job is to go and do home security assessments or business security assessments and make recommendations on how to make your home more secure. And I'll go out and I'll see, or I drive neighborhoods and I look and I see homes that are covered like this. And big bushes in the front of the house that block the entire front door and the whole home except for the driveway. Sometimes we have issues with the recessed door, which you'll see a lot in a lot of neighborhoods, especially the newer ones, where the door is kind of punched back. So a couple of ideas is, one homeowner, they kind of built out that front door and made a nice little foyer in the front. Also, too, what we'd recommend here for a door like that is to put in a camera system that has motion activated cameras connected to a phone. And I'll talk about that more in a little bit. And I'll show you a video about that. So another thing too that criminals are looking for are environmental cues. Our newspapers collected, our garbage cans being left out, you know, after garbage, several days after garbage day, or the people putting garbage out before garbage day, and like several days before. Is the driveway been shoveled? Are there footprints? Are there tire tracks? So if you're going to be traveling, if COVID ever ends, knock on wood, when we get through COVID, and you're going to take a trip, and you're thinking about going out to the Rockies to see some nature out there, it's, you know, it's, you just want to make sure that you've got somebody lined up that can collect newspaper or deal with the garbage or any door hangers that you often get from businesses that are going door to door, anything like that. Someone to cut your lawn, someone to shovel your driveway, so it looks like the house is lived in. So when I was talking about fencing, this is the kind of fence that is ideal for access control. And the reason why this fence is recommended is basically that it's really tough to climb. First off, it looks good, has good curb appeal. Then as a criminal, when I look at that fence, it looks like it's really hard to climb because the foothold's here, and you know, and then I got to kind of force my way up. I mean, like we could probably all climb over that fence if we really wanted to, but this fence is going to be a lot harder, and because of the slats that are wide open here, the people at you know, I'm looking at this window here, I see somebody climbing a fence and going over, or they're trying to get over that, or they've gotten over and now they're walking along that area. I can see it. So you see how we just have the good sight line to and from. And I understand it's tough when you're looking at an area where you want some privacy in your yard. Oh, another thing too is that if somebody does try to climb, I got these sharp pointy things on top. So if there's a slip, I mean, you know, they could hurt themselves. So that could be a little bit of a deterrent as well. And when I talk about the hostile vegetation, the thorny plants, and we're looking at putting them along the bottom. When we're looking at putting them along the bottom of the fence line, so you can kind of see how, like, if I want to climb over that fence and I got to step through thorny bushes, do I really want to have to take that chance? Maybe I'll just go somewhere else. And when we're looking at signage, this is what we're talking about. We got, you know, you're beware of dogs, security cameras, a smile, you're on camera, a little less authoritative, but it still gets the point out. No trespassing, and that Adt garden sign is a really good thing to have. You know, you could put something like this up. So is that, you know, if you're a criminal, are you going to go in? Are you going to climb that fence and take that chance? So with these signs, what we're doing is we're establishing territory. This is my property. Nobody's to be on my property unless I've granted permission for you to be on my property. So this is a little extreme, but is anyone gonna take a chance and try to get into that property? You see that trespasser shot on sight? Yeah, I think I'll go somewhere else. I'm not going to take the chance. So we've got signs like this around the property. Those ADT, like the alarm system, is just another. It's a visual deterrent, psychological deterrent. So if I'm driving by homes and I see the signs telling me if I go on that property, I'll be on camera. If I try to get into that property, there's an alarm system, or there's a dog, I'm not going to go, because you're telling people this is my property. You're not welcome unless I allow you. Lighting is another issue, and for outside the home, one of the best things we recommend is motion sensor lights. These pictures here, this is the switch of lighting. So the one on the left is the old school low pressure sodium lighting, you know, kind of gives off a yellowy glow. And then on the right is the LED lighting, which most municipalities have installed in their street lights and municipal properties. And all it does is it just gives a clear image of what we're seeing as we walk through that space. And colors, whether it be clothing or vehicles in that parking lot, especially on the right, you see how clear that is. That's what we want to establish, so it's easier to identify the color of a vehicle or clothing. Again, just another example. You see it's kind of dark and shadowy on the left. On the right, clear, bright. As I'm walking through there, I can see straight ahead, far ahead of me, and I'm not as concerned about people hiding in shadows. This is just a picture of a dark parking lot, which we often see in areas. And then you go here, this is a Publix down in the US. And I've been to a Publix in the US, and this is what they look like. The parking, look how bright that is. And you can see that blue car sort of in the middle of the picture, you know it's blue. And all of those vehicles, you can tell exactly what color they are. There's no shadows, it's bright, it's clear. I mean, the only drawback really is the light pollution. But for security and crime prevention, that's what we want to establish. For our homes, this looks really great. It looks like it'd be amazing in a kind of a spooky movie or something. Kind of a neat look, but there's a lot of shadows. And if you look at a house like this, where kind of the LED lighting is all throughout the home, that's bright. If I approach that house, people are going to see me approaching that house. Whereas this one, people aren't going to see me. And when I, excuse me, when I mention lighting, motion lighting is always good, because when you approach a house that's in darkness and a light turns on, as a criminal, I'm thinking, did you just see me and turn the light on? And then as a passerby, if I'm driving by a home, I see a light pop on and there's bad guys standing underneath that light, I'm drawn to that. Our eyes are drawn to light. So if all of a sudden there's darkness, there's darkness and then all of a sudden the light pops on, your head will turn, your eyes will look at that location. And then another advantage of the motion activated lights are, as a homeowner, you're inside the house, you're watching TV, and your motion light pops on, and whether it's in your backyard, side yard, front yard, it's just a cause for you to take a look out your window, say, oh, it's probably going to be an animal, raccoon or chipmunk or something patrolling the nights, but you never know. So it's just an opportunity to take a look outside. And just a short story on my end. My previous house, my neighbor, she lived on her own, and she had a motion light. She had a side door, whereas I approached my front walk, her side door had a motion light over it. And I'd come home, and when I was working night shifts, I'd come home at 5 in the morning, 5:30 in the morning sometimes, and I'd walk up my front walk, and that light would turn on every time. And you know what I did every single time? I looked, and I even knew that it was going to go on. And I couldn't stop myself, because there's darkness, and then as you walk, there's light, and you look towards the light. So it's kind of hard to see, but this here those are 2 floodlights, and there's a built-in camera on this. So it's a motion sensor light, and that camera is a motion activated camera, and it's connected to a smartphone Wi-Fi connection. And essentially what it does is, somebody comes into that line of sight, the lights turn on, the camera turns on, sends a signal to your phone, and tells you that the camera has been activated. So then you open up your phone, you look at it, and you can see who's standing outside, or if it's an animal or a person. The middle picture is that's a solar panel there, and oftentimes that's just a great way to install motion lights in areas at the side of your house or at the back of your house, and in areas maybe further back in a yard. If you have a really big yard and you want to have some lighting in the back, if you can get this panel to the sunlight, then you will have activated motion lights if somebody walks past that light. So really, really effective. And if you're trying to get security for a deep yard or wide yard, and you put something like this, like the solar panel light, it'll be an alert for you. And also too, if you're just out and about moving around, it's always good to have the light back there if you're doing some late fall yard work with leaves. Light timers are great to have, especially if you're going to be traveling. You can have it plugs into a light, into a socket, and you can program it to turn on at a certain time of day and turn off. And if you have a couple of these in your home, you can have one, in the front living room and one upstairs in a bedroom or just in a front hallway. So a broken door, this is what it looks like after somebody has kicked the door. And you can see how it's just completely smashed away. And then the door also splits. So that's kind of what it looks like. So what we want to do is install bigger, stronger strike plates. And we want to look at a good lock, but the main thing that we're looking at is going to be securing the door and the door jamb. So on this picture down here, that long strip is just a thin metal strip that you put on the door jamb that will help prevent your door from doing this. So it go from, it could be 40 inches long. It could be from top to bottom. It could be 12 inches long that will cover this off. And then you put in, you're looking at putting in 2 3/4 inch screws to 3-inch long screws. And what that does is it firms up this location here and it makes it tough to kick the door in. So you see how this door has split. So let's say we reinforce this part of the door jamb and we go over here and somebody is trying to kick the door. The door may give here and then the deadbolt will just sort of slide past that. So if we want to secure the door, that side of the door, they have items like this, just basically a door wrap. You see them in hotels and condos, and it keeps the door from splitting. So now we've got the nice long piece of metal to secure the jamb, and then we've got a wrap to secure the door, and then we're putting in extra long screws where we can. This is also another item that you can put in different door areas. This little plate here screws in, this plate screws into the floor, and then that plate slides into this. And it just goes in right in front of the door. So if somebody's trying to kick it, it's gonna be really tough to do. This is a cheap option, about $30. It's kind of like the concept that you'd see in thriller movies where somebody jams the chair under the door to prevent people from getting in. And then they've got something like this, which is just a overall door kit to provide extra security all around. So as we're building up our door security, we've also looked at putting cameras in place. So that's just another example of, this is a video. Let me show you how this works.
Hello, my name is Henry Reyna. I'm the owner of Secure Solution LLC, and I'm a security expert. And we're going to test the locking system for night lock on a residential home here. We're going to see what gives up first, the locks or the night lock system. And it's been my experience of being a police officer for over 30 years. I've kicked a couple of doors in, and so I know how it's done. I'm a practicing martial artist as well, so I can kick really good. I'm 6'2", weigh 225 pounds, and so we're gonna test the night lock system. All right, so after a dozen attempts, the first thing to break was the frame here on these two locks. The night lock system has held, and no one was getting in this door. Looking at this system, I guess if someone was really determined to get in here, they're going to break this glass. And let's look at that to see from outside, can you reach that night lock system to get your hand on it to get the door open?
Okay, so I'm just going to pause it there just for the sake of time. But that's just one idea. So now let's say we've reinforced the jamb and put in extra long strike plates and longer screws. And then we add in a piece like that. And then we have cameras and we have good, clean sight lines. We have signage out front. So you can see how we're now building up the barriers. And if somebody decides they're going to bypass the signs, they're going to bypass the cameras, and they're going to go to try to kick that door, now they're going to have a heck of a time trying to get that door open. So also in place with this door ideally is we're going to have an alarm system. So if somebody starts kicking that alarm, the contact will come apart and it will trigger the alarm. So now we've got another barrier. Doorbell cameras, of all the items of home security, this may be one of the most practical items that you can get for your house. It's just basically a motion activated camera connected via Wi-Fi to your smartphone, and you put it at your front door, back door, side door. Somebody approaches that within a certain range of that door. You can set the range as well. So let's say somebody steps up, it's 3 feet from your front door. They haven't even touched your door yet. That camera automatically turns on, starts recording, and sends a signal to your phone letting you know that someone's at your door. And these devices allow you to actually speak through your phone to the person at your front door. So it's a great device. So if we're trying to get out ahead of the criminals, this is one of the best items because it gives you eyes on live time. And now we know that somebody's standing at our front door. So you can say, hey man, you get off my property. I don't know who you are. I'm calling the police. Or if it's UPS, yeah, you know, it's UPS. I do a lot of, before COVID, I used to go out into communities and do a lot of door-to-door canvassing, talking to people about home security and giving out information. And I'd come across a lot of these devices. So I'd ring the doorbell and somebody would answer. Either they'd be at work. Some people are traveling, and they say, oh, they see that it's York Regional Police and say, oh, how can we help you? And I say, oh, I'm just giving out some information. Okay, great. Just throw it in my mailbox there. Or they're inside the house. So how do I know you're a cop? And I've had that a few times. And I said, okay, well, I'll show you. I'll do a full turn. I had my full uniform on, my vest and duty belt. And they said, oh, okay, I'm going to come up now. So it's just a great way as a deterrent and to get eyes on live time. That somebody's not supposed to be on your property, you can call the police. And for the sake of time, I'm just going to show you a few minutes of this video. This is down in the States, and I just want to show you how, it's just an example of how these doorbell cameras work.
Brazen daytime burglars. They'll hit up your house and steal your stuff in broad daylight. Watch as this guy saunters up to the door, takes a quick look around, grabs a package, and bolts. And this man ringing the doorbell to see if someone's home. He's shifty, standing there on the front porch, trying the doorknob. Now he's in the living room, covering his face with a t-shirt, walking around like he owns the place. It's all caught on security cam. But thanks to the newest trend in numerous state-of-the-art home surveillance cameras that offer real-time crime watching, things are about to go a little differently for this guy in a blue hoodie, seen kicking in the front door of a Los Angeles home. What the thief doesn't know is that homeowner Greg Garfield is watching it all go down while he's at his office in real time from a special app called Ring, installed on his mobile phone.
Here's a guy standing in front of my house at 10:30 in the morning with no reason to be there. And as he's looking around, it looked very suspicious. Scary, actually. Got a guy that's about 6'5", 250 pounds, that's taller than my door.
There's Hoodie Man dashing through the living room with a pillowcase bulging with loot, jewelry, watches, and a gun he swiped from a drawer in the bedroom. Greg, horrified by what's unfolding before his eyes, calls 911. It's not long before news crews show up at the house. Greg talking to our Los Angeles affiliate, KTLA.
What's going through your mind?
Catch him. Get here and catch him. They did. They got here in seconds, and let's hope the sirens we're hearing right now is them finding this guy.
Looking back,
So that just gives you an idea of how that works. So you can be at work and somebody approaches your front door, the camera turns on, sends you the signal, and now you see, holy cow, there's somebody at my front door who I don't think should be there. And in Nobleton, a couple of years ago, we had a break-in where the homeowner had a camera set up on the inside, motion activated camera set up just in the front foyer. We had a break-in, and she was watching it from work and calling York Regional Police as it was happening. So it's pretty it's pretty cool that we were able to do that. A couple of ideas for patio security, these Charlie bars, and also for your basement windows. These are always good, just a little pop down. You can also put a stick in the track of the window. That's always recommended. Same here, put a stick in and add something like this. They've also got all kinds of different lock ideas for sliding doors. Pin locks, these are always great. If you have small kids, I'd recommend that you put these down on the bottom. So that way, if there's emergency, they can get out. Window protection, you can put bars on windows. This is window security film. If you're gonna put bars on basement windows, I would recommend, my recommendation is that they don't stay locked. Because if there is an emergency and you have people in the basement and they need to get out, or if you need to get out and it's locked and you're panicking, you're looking for a key to get out of these windows and unlock it. You may not find it. So if you are going to put bars on windows in the basement to give the appearance that there's bars, you may be able just to put them over the window, but not necessarily fasten them. So that way, if you have to just pop them off, you can. But as a criminal, I'm looking in from outside. Oh, geez, there's bars over the windows. I'm not going to get through that. This is window security film. One of the more expensive items on the list of security tools, but really, really effective. And I'll just show you this. So you're gonna want to have a professional do this for you.
Standard center punch, tempered glass, no film protection.
So picture that as a patio door. That's how easily they break. And our criminals might use a garden stone, patio stone, river rock to throw through the window, and then they'll just go in. So now you're going to see an example of window security film that is recommended you put over your sliding patio doors, any lower level windows, side lights at the front door. So that's a big guy taking home run swings. See how that holds up? So he goes at this for a few more minutes. So right now he's trying to break through that window. So imagine if we have a motion activated camera right here. We're watching him do this. Guess what we're doing? We're calling 911 and having the police get to that house as fast as possible. I did a security assessment at a house, and the homeowner had put a whole, he came to a presentation I did at the King City Town Council a few years ago. And it was basically this presentation. He went and did a lot of these, almost all of these recommendations. He put window security film on every window, and all the locks, reinforced everything. He did it top to bottom with the window security film. It was about a 3,000 square foot house, basement, middle, upper level, about $2,700 to do that. How are we doing on time, Helen? I just have a...
We're at 9:57.
Oh, okay. Does it automatically just shut off at 10 or?
No.
Okay, okay.
No.
Are you guys good for a few more minutes? I just rounding out quickly. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just going to show this quick video about just shows some door security.
Holiday lights,
I'm gonna
Christmas
move it
trees,
ahead.
wrapped presents. It's
So they're talking about window
50.
security film, and then
definitely more.
handle
This,
or the
For 34% of
this is the
break-ins.
part,
normally what fails on a door is not the handle or the deadbolt, it's the wood jamb.
So we tested a few easy ways to make your door more secure with the help of battlefield firefighters. First, we installed a regular deadbolt on a typical front door. Whoa. One shot. The deadbolt is still there. The lock is still there. The door is split a little bit, but really the biggest failure was in the jamb itself. Next, we installed 2 security strike plates, costing about $8.
What this does is expands the distance of the wood that can be split out.
2 forceful kicks and the door is still closed. A few more may have gotten the door open, but experts say most burglars would have moved on by then. Finally, for another $30, we bought a heavy-duty commercial-grade deadbolt.
so now we've got these strike plates or reinforcing extra long screws. We've got a camera here. We've got window security film. We have those door buttresses that on the inside of the door as well. People are not going to break through that unless they're really,
Still
really
using
working on
those.
it. So that's kind of what we want to do. And then video surveillance, there's thousands of systems out there. The one I recommend the most out of all of these is something that's motion activated and alerts you so that way you can see live time what's happening on your property. And they've got regular camera systems that are motion activated, some that are continually running. You've got the doorbell cameras, the motion light cameras. So there's so many different options, but if you're ever going to put cameras, I always recommend have at least one in the main area of the front of a home that is motion activated. Alarm system is just another layer. If you have just the alarm and nothing else, it may not do a whole lot for you. But if you now have all the other ideas in place, this is going to be a great tool to have as well. Another layer. And then you get those little garden signs that you put out front of your house and around the back. And it's just another psychological deterrent. You've got the cameras, you've got signs saying you've got cameras, you've got beware of dog, you've got your alarm force sign in the front garden. As a criminal driving by, I see that, I'm moving on to a place that doesn't have any of this. And I think, yep, we're just rounding out. So that's pretty much it. On our YRP website, we have a home security audit guide. So if you go into crime prevention, you'll see a home security audit guide. And it's a government ministry issued booklet that kind of talks about doing a home assessment for yourself. But that being said, the crime prevention team, as officers, we will go out. We go out to homes, we go out to businesses, and we do security assessments. We do walkabouts of your home or business, and we provide ideas and suggestions, recommendations on areas where security items or target hardening could be improved or increased. So that may be something to think about. Because of COVID, we are sort of laying low with doing our septet assessments because of contact in the community. But we are available to do such things for people. And it's really good. It's very beneficial. And some people, like when I've done, I don't know how many assessments over the years, hundreds. And I go to a lot of homes, don't have anything in place. And then I go to some homes where they've got everything in place, and it's oh, holy cow, like you're set. Nobody's going to get into your place. So it's a lot of it's also personal preference. How far do you want to go with your home security? What's your level of concern? I mean, for me, if like my level of concern is that's pretty much the end of the presentation. I know that was a longer one than the last one, but again, it's lots of information.
Thank you. Emergency number besides the 911.
Okay, yeah. So our non-emergency number for York Regional Police would be 905-895-1221.
Thank you.
Thank you.